So, welcome back. Today we're going to do a soul food cake. That is a pun on words. You'll understand in a bit. What it is after my juicing, canning, all of that stuff, I still had some of these. They're called pear melons. Had some of these pear melons left over. And what I want to do is I want to turn them into a cake. Let me get this camera straight here. That's bugging the bejesus out of me. Alright, the first thing you do with the pear melon, you can eat them just like they are. The outside though can be a bit tangy, but I'm going to peel these. And the peelings, the same as with the carrot tops, the cucumber peelings, all of that will get dehydrated and turned into fish food. There is nothing, if I can avoid it, that gets wasted around here. Even when I sweep up, all the sweepings, the dirt, all of that that comes off the floor after doing a prep has food particles and stuff in it. And that goes into my worm bed. So literally, even the sweepings off the floor is used in one form or another. So we're just going to take the tops off of these. Now I'm just going to use a conventional peeler, and we're just going to take a light. These things can get really soft, so you got to be careful, otherwise you can gouge into them. I mean, overall, this is a fairly nice little fruit. The plant itself wants to branch out, become a creeping vine, if you will. So I keep it bundled up. But I think it's getting too big. So what I'm going to do next year, because we're in the fall, it goes in the greenhouse in the winter. And I will let it branch out, root, clip it, and make new plants out of it. So this, you slice it open, little bitty seeds and so on, all of it's edible. So we're going to use this, and I'm going to get these peeled, then we'll come back. We've all went shopping and found stuff on sale, grabbed it, it was a bargain. Then later you go, why the heck did I buy this? I do not like lemon cake. But it was on for half price, so you know, food's food. The same as, this is why it's my soul food cake, because it says soul food. It's a peach cobbler filling mix. It comes 6 packages in a thing, so we're going to take one of those because this is resealable, and we're going to make ourselves a cake. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our leftover pear melons, and we're going to blend those. We're going to mix it. The box says 3 eggs and a cup of water, so we're going to mix it with our 3 large eggs, our cup of water, and then it goes right back into this bowl. And I'll be right back with you. So we've got our eggs, water, soul food mix all mixed into here. And we're simply going to pour that back into our bowl. Then, as per the directions on this thing, we're going to add 1/3 cup of oil. I don't like adding oil when I'm doing stuff in my blender because it's so hard to get it cleaned out. I know this is sort of a cheap method, but it's also a cheap method. I buy all these expensive cake mixes and stuff. Get the stuff on for about half price when it goes on sale. And make what I want out of it. You can do this with about anything, really. So I'm going to get my blender out. We're going to blend this up and then go to the next step. You know, I should warn you ahead of time. I probably should not have added that water, that cup of water, because that fruit is so juicy. We're going to have a very extremely moist cake. So I'm going to have to cook this at slightly under temperature to allow it time to evaporate out and get that extra moisture out. I just should not have put that cup of water in there. So now, flippy floppy things. Most people go, well, I put these in and they don't. It's supposed to be non-stick and my stuff is all stuck. Most people forget you need to get these wet. So before I put my cake mix in, add a little bit of moisture. Got just a little bit of water floating around in the bottom. Then I can put this in. Let me get my spatula. Yep, extremely moist. Should not have put that water in there, people. Lesson learned. Okay. Go. And what I've done is just slid my let me get this on. Slid this underneath it. But when I poured this in, you'll do better to have your pan, whatever you're going to put in the oven, underneath it, because it's so wobbly you're going to wind up spilling it unless you've got a firm surface underneath it. That's the one thing about these pans. Safety, safety, safety. Oven mitts. It's going in the oven. If my hand should twitch, I've literally burned myself on the oven elements before. So I'm going to slow cook that at 100 Celsius. There we go. I'm going to slow cook that at yes, I'm due for a haircut. It's coming next week. I'm going to cook that at about 100 Celsius, and occasionally I'm going to perforate the top to allow that extra moisture to come out. I wouldn't have had to do that if I had not added that cup of water, which was on the directions. Okay, so let's get all this cleaned up and we'll see what it turns out to be. Cake is coming along fine. We're getting a lot of moisture dissipation due to the heat, but I do not want that top to burn or get brown. So what we've done is I've taken a piece of baking paper and using my scissors just snipped holes in it. This will lay over it. It will keep it from browning too quickly, while still the holes will allow that moisture to come out. So let's get that in there. So it's been in the oven about 2 hours at 100 degrees Celsius. I just took the paper off. It looks like it's settling in really well. And I'll pull it in about 20 minutes. So about 2.5 hours. But we should still have saved it from all that excess moisture. So after about 2.5 hours of cooking, the bottom is still a little wet. So I flipped it over onto a microwavable plate. The thing about a microwave is it agitates the water molecules. This is why if you put a piece of bread in the microwave and heat it up, it's real soft at first, then it turns like real hard and dry quickly. So that's what we're going to try to do, is to get the rest of this top moisture off. We're simply going to run it in the microwave for about 5 minutes. Well, the microwaving worked. It's definitely not what I was wanting, but it was just an experiment. And I figured you people could see this is how I do stuff. It's how you invent new recipes. I mean, it's edible, it's cake, but it's really, really moist cake. Really moist.